Hello, everyone. I'm here with Rebecca Chapman from Curve Dental Software Company. It's a cloud company that I actually is one of the ones that I recommend. There have been, actually, they are the oldest cloud company providing practice management software to dentists. I wanted to have a demo of the software for the group members. This way you can get an idea before you get a personal demo of what things to look for and go from there. Hey, Rebecca, go ahead and introduce yourself. Tell me how long you've been with the company and what do you do for them?
Hi, I'm Rebecca, and I've been with Curve for 2 years now. And I get to show off our product and show you guys what our product can do. I used Curve as in office for about 6 years. So I know the product inside and out, and I'm excited to show you guys.
Great. Thank you very much. So what I want to do at this demo is, Rebecca, I'm going to basically pretend I'm demoing different software, and I'm going to try to ask you questions and kind of you expand on it and go from there. Is that okay?
That sounds great.
Great. So this is obviously the schedule.
Yes.
And is this like the first page that we come to?
Yep. When you log in, this is really that main screen that you'll see. And there's three components here on the screen. There's the largest right now, which is the schedule. Everything is on that schedule is tailored to your offices. The number of columns you need, how you label them, time increments, and especially the colors you're seeing on my screen. All of those are up to your office and what works best for you guys.
Rebecca, so going from one module to another module, where is the schedule right now? Or is that just opens up?
So that's just going to open up when we log in. So that's going to be the first and largest thing you see when you first log in. The
Okay.
second area to this screen is on the lower right. That's a mini calendar. It lets you move through your days quickly. But the part that I really want to show you and really want to dive into is going to be this whole right side. This right side over here for me, this is what we call our sidekick. And you'll see it's how I'm going to be navigating through the system. It's always here by my side. And essentially, it's just like the patient's chart.
I see. So everything for that patient is there. All the now, I want to bring everybody's attention to this fact that although this looks like your old practice management software regarding different software that you may have, but this is within Google Chrome, a web browser, correct? This is basically, you can access this from anywhere. And if you look up here on the very top, you can actually see an address for a website, which is your landing page, correct?
That's correct. Yes, sir.
Okay. So this opens up and go ahead. What's the next step?
Yeah, so I also like to point out here on the Sidekick that areas are clearly labeled for your team. There's never any guessing in regards to which area you're going to enter into. And this Sidekick acts almost like a dual monitor system for you because each area has this drop down more button that will give you access to that section without moving away from your schedule. So for example, I can do things like update a phone number for a patient without going into the profile area. And it just allows me to constantly keep eyes on the schedule and know what's going on. I can check my patient's billing from here from the Sidekick. I'm able to check any upcoming appointments for themselves or any family members that they have, all right here from the Sidekick. Still viewing that schedule on my main screen.
Very interesting. Now, show me that you could change the phone number from that profile tab.
Yeah, so if a patient calls in and I need to update a phone number, I can just drop down more on the profile. I can then come in and add,
Wow.
the correct phone number. And then it saves it. It's updated in the patient's profile, but I'm still right here with my Sidekick.
Yes, very, very nice. So, wow, I'm kind of impressed about that. Okay, so another thing I noticed from Curve that I had not noticed from other software that I've tested, you can actually move these appointments, right? Am I right?
Yeah, so all of our scheduling is a drag and drop feature. So if Miss Parker calls and says she needs to reschedule, I can come and drag it. I can drag it to a later time in the afternoon. It
Uh-huh.
contains all of the information that the appointment originally had, but I can also drop it over here into a queue. I can pick it back up from the queue, and it still has all of the information that was contained under that appointment.
So that queue is like a clipboard, basically, right?
Yeah, just like a holding cell. So I
Right,
can
right.
drop it over here. Maybe she wants to come in next week. I can use that mini calendar. I could also do a search by appointment times that are available, and then I can just drag and drop that same appointment wherever it belongs on the schedule.
And then go over that little site. And what is that to do? Is that like some things for the office to do, or for everybody?
Yeah, so this area over here, it allows you to create your own to-do list or task list for yourself. We've got other areas where you can create task lists for your entire team, and then you can add memos that can be seen throughout the locate the office. So everybody would have access to see any memos that are posted for the day, and then you can create an individualized to-do list for yourself where you can add due dates. These can be linked to certain patients if you need them to be. So that way you can really keep organized with yourself, but also with your entire team.
And where is the entire team area?
The memos can be seen by anybody that's in the entire team,
I
but we
see.
also have a task list that can be automated. It's more of an automated part of our patient engagement system that we have, which we call Curve Grow.
I see. Great.
Well, I'm going to move over into the insurance area and touch on the insurance section here just a little bit. Within Curve, we are able to add as many different insurance plans per patient as you might need. So, for instance, Tony here has one insurance plan, and we are able to connect him to a secondary or a tertiary plan as well. And then we also have the ability to right click and send an eligibility request. Now, this request is going to come back into the system within 30 seconds so that you can receive patient specific information about your patient. So I'm able to view that response from inside a curve. And this example is just giving kind of some typically, hey, what are we grabbing most of the time when we get those eligibility pulls? These are incredibly important for an office. And for our office, this was really kind of that first step where we would always check here first. Because usually we're able to see things like deductibles and maximums, benefits used and remaining. We're able to typically see coverage dates and coverage details and frequencies and age limitations.
Rebecca, this is a PDF format, obviously, right?
Correct. It is. It is correct.
What I wanted to ask you was, is this part of the curve or is this an extra service? How does that work?
This is all built into Curve, so there's no extra charge for this. You can use this feature as much as you'd like. You could check every single patient every time they came in and be able to get an active eligibility for that patient.
Great. But it does not populate into the curve, right? We need to manually enter those, right?
That is correct, and that's a great question. So yeah, this is going to always remain, that PDF form will always remain inside a Curve for you to access once it's been pulled. But you do have the ability to come in and edit these plans. One of the things that I really like is how specific Curve's coverage table is.
Mhm.
Sometimes there's outliers, and as someone who went over treatment plans with patients, it was really important that I could just give them the best quote that I possibly could. And by being code specific and not just grouping everything into, preventative, basic, and major categories, you're able to accommodate for those outliers.
Right. And I want to kind of stop here for a second to kind of mention the fact that, I test a lot of software and there are a lot of cloud software. I have to tell you, Curve has a very, very clean user interface, very user friendly, and it can do a lot of good stuff easily. So I appreciate you showing it to us. Go ahead. Let's go to the next one that you think it's important.
Yeah, so I'm going to move right on along into our imaging area. So Curve has its own imaging system built in. So we're able to take images, intraoral pictures can be found here as well. And we're going to be able to take those images right into Curve.
So
Oh, there we go.
So show me, this is kind of important. Um, So how did you do that? You're clicking on the tooth and it comes up, or are you?
So down here at the bottom, I'm scrolling through. We organize it by
Oh, I see.
date that it was taken. So I'm just scrolling through to show you a couple of images that I have in my system,
Uh-huh.
just to give some examples here. But it's organized by date, so you can scroll up and down deciding on that date. Now we do also have the ability in other parts of this area to be able to click on a tooth number and then be able to see any images that are associated with that tooth number. So here on the odontogram in the planning and history, I would be able to click on those tooth numbers and view any images that are associated with that tooth number.
Excellent. What if we wanted to acquire an image? How does that work?
Yeah, so right down here at the bottom, it has get an image.
Wait,
Now, of course, the office's devices would show up here along with the sensor that they're using, and then they could press captured image and it would show up right here on this main screen. We
so
also have,
where was it? Where was that acquired image? Sorry, I missed. Oh,
sure,
image.
it's
It's
just
on the
right
bottom.
down at the very bottom. Yep, get an image. We can also begin a mount. So you can take these images directly into different templates that we have available. That way, those images are just going straight into that template, and they appear where they belong once they've been taken.
I see. I see. Are these templates already set up, or do you have capability of setting your own templates?
These templates are set up for you. You are able to edit things like which tooth numbers you go first. So the order. So if you take them in a different order, that's okay. Let's rearrange it and make it work for your office. Or if you are associating it, you're wanting it to turn a certain direction based on your sensors, you can make sure that it's automatically rotated and turned and associated with each tooth number so that when you take the image, it's all set up for you.
Great. Great. Thank you.
There's also a couple of different modifications that I'm able to share with you here on this area. So for instance, this image here shows you there's different measurements the office can take on the image. There's also the ability to mark a watt, like an area of interest. And then there's also an inspect tool. This is a temporary feature that you can move around with. You can zoom in and out and you can change the brightness and contrast. So maybe while the doctor's diagnosing, you might utilize this tool. And then there's also more permanent type modifications that are listed on the left-hand side of the screen.
Yeah. So basically, it's a full-fledged imaging software embedded into to Curve, correct?
That is correct. Yeah, but we don't have to move outside of Curve to take those images, and we don't have to go outside of Curve in order to edit those or apply any of those modifications.
And this is really important for whomever is watching this to understand that when you get a practice management software, a lot of times you buy the software and you realize, oh boy, now I got to get an imaging software to accompany that, to connect to it. One of the criteria that I choose for recommending a cloud software is the fact that they have to have a native imaging module, because you don't want to deal with two different companies. You don't know what's going to happen with their relationships, things like that. And this is all within Curve, correct?
This is all within Curve. If you ever have any problems with the imaging, all you have to do is call customer service and they make sure everything looks good and helps you make sure everything is correct. So that way it's all in one system. And that way
Yeah.
you're calling one support team, no matter what area you're needing that support in, whether it be imaging or claims or any other part of the system, you're talking to the same group of people.
Yes, and I've talked to the imaging support when I was first demoing this product, and they connected to my computer and they tweaked things for my X-ray to look good, and that was the important thing. Go ahead. What's the next?
Yeah, I'm going to move over into the planning area. I know how important, giving those accurate treatment plans can be, being able to organize these in ways that make sense for your patient, and being able to access these easily. So here in the planning area, we call these treatment cards, and y'all can use as many of these as you need. These act independently from one another in regards to finances. So if you have patients that have two separate options, you're going to be able to discuss and talk about these options separately. Talk about the finances, educate the patient. That way they can choose the best option for them. Also, sometimes we need to phase or prioritize treatment. It makes it more manageable for the patient, whether it be for financial reasons or, simply because of the treatment that's being completed. And with Curve, once we have that treatment in, all we need to do is drag down. If you notice, that second visit appeared. And so now it's just dragging and dropping into visits that make sense. And you can label these, you can name these whatever makes sense for the verbiage that you guys use in office. I do like to make mine very clear, this is step 1, 2, or 3. So that way patients really have a good idea of what the priority is and what they need to be scheduling for.
So this is the treatment plan area, and you're basically you sit down and whatever it's in red, for example, is going to appear in the unscheduled, and you drag it, right?
Yep, exactly. And today's visit, so any appointment that's scheduled, it's going to be labeled as with the time and date of that visit. This area, it directly connects with the appointment, also with billing. So if anything updates or changes anywhere across the board, it's going to automatically update in the other 2 areas as well. So it really eliminates kind of those those back end type errors where we say, oh yeah, we also took x-rays, or oh yeah, we didn't do fluoride today. So if it's removed or added anywhere in the area, it's going to all connect together for the team.
Excellent. And this drag and dropping is very, very attractive to me. I like the fact that it's very easy to move things around.
It really is, and it's really helpful for quick treatment planning. Sometimes we don't want to go over everything all at once. Maybe there's an emergency and we need to focus on that area. Or maybe we don't want to overwhelm the patient, so we're going to break it up for them. And this gives us that flexibility to do so. I was also displaying just a moment ago how easy it is to treatment plan. If we over here on the left hand side, all I did was click on the word composite, and then all I did was drag and drop on surfaces of the teeth, and the codes appeared down at the bottom for me. So it doesn't matter if your team members are super code savvy. It doesn't matter if they just entered into the dental field and they don't know those codes. We're going to be able to accommodate that and help very quick treatment planning by allowing you to type in specific codes or allowing you to type in descriptive words and browse through codes. Also a lot of times we might group codes together. So if our doctor has treatment that we typically use the same codes for, there you can create this shortcut button, which now makes this treatment planning 2 clicks, because it's going to group all the codes I need. So for example, if I click on implant and then I click on a tooth, it's going to just group all those codes down at the bottom for me. And these are all up to you guys, all the colors and how you label them and the codes that you group together. That's all up to whatever the office's needs are.
Right. Rebecca, can you repeat that one more time? I like that idea. So you can chart on the top and then bring it down, and we'll bring the code and everything for you.
Yeah. So over here on the left-hand side, when we're ready to treatment plan, for example, a filling, I can click, there's the word composite here. And then all I have to do is drag and drop on the surfaces that we need to do that filling.
Right.
And now when we look down at that card, it put the correct code associated with the correct tooth number as well as all the
Wow.
sites, and it did it for me.
Very nice.
We used to have contests to see if it was typer to directly type in that code or to
Right.
drag and drop on the surfaces.
Right. So that that other screen that you just opened, that's optional. You can basically just click that, and everything is going into the treatment plan, right?
Right, exactly.
Excellent.
Um, Now Curve is a very dynamic system and a very intelligent platform. So it really knows where we are at all times, which means when we connect notes or when we make notes, it's going to automatically know where you are on the system and will tag it for you. So if I make a note in the charting area, it's going to tag it as a clinical note. It automatically attaches itself to the data service and to that tooth number. So we're always going to be able to reference that very quickly. Same thing with billing. If we add notes into the billing area, it automatically attaches it to that billing invoice. So it's always attached. It really knows where you are and how to get you where you're looking to go.
Okay, great.
When I'm ready to check the patient out, I can do that here from the schedule. And if I right click and check out, it pushes me into the billing ledger. And this page here kind of gives me a second set of eyes. does everything look good before I send out a claim or collect a payment? Do I need to update the provider, make sure that the correct provider is getting credit, but also so that this claim is going out correctly? Tooth numbers, tooth sites. If I need to add anything, I can do it from here. And once again, it just updates automatically. Now inside of Curve, we can send out all of our claims electronically. There's no maximum amount of claims that we can send out through the system. We're also going to let you know with this little pop-up right away if things are invalid. We want to make sure that we're sending out those claims correctly and that we're catching some of these billing errors on the front end instead of you guys having to wait as an office for that denial to go back in and fix whatever it was and then send it back out a second time.
Right.
Oh, Curve's billing ledger. Big thing here is it's an invoice-based ledger. So I'm just going to scroll down a little bit here. The invoice.
I'm gonna explain this for a little minute, if you don't mind, because this is a
Yeah,
question
absolutely.
I hear from a lot of my members who want to switch, and they're always surprised why they can't transfer or they can't transition from their ledger to this, because the accounting world has changed. Nobody does the running ledger anymore. Everything is
Yep.
invoice based. All the accounting methods are this way, and this is a better way. It's a lot easier for people to track where the payment went and things like that, rather than you keep putting charges and you put a payment. Now you have to go see where did that payment go to. Is that correct?
Right. A lot of research doing it that way, right? And hey, I can speak from experience. I used to have to figure out where their running balance was at zero if they had questions, and then I'd have to do these big account audits. And I'd have to work my way down trying to figure out where the balance came from. But because Curve is an invoice base, everything's contained underneath that invoice. So you're clearly able to see when things are done, like adjustments, payments, those claims, they all attach to the invoice. If there's questions, we can open up the invoice. We're able to see this full breakdown. What was done, who completed that treatment, look at the expected financials, see where those payments were allocated, and it's closing it out per invoice. So it's making it very easy for us to be able to help patients understand, when there's additional balances or when they have balances on their account.
Yeah, I remember my staff members sometimes at the end of the year, the patient wants to know where their payment went, and spending hours and hours looking, okay, where did this go? What happened? Where's this balance coming from? So we had to go back like a year and a half until the balance was zero, and then little by
Mhm.
little calculate it. So that this makes it a lot easier.
Yeah, and we've actually added a running balance over here to the side to help aid in that transition because we do firmly believe that invoice ledger, I mean, man, it makes it so much easier for us to understand the billing, but we also understand it is a transition. So we do help out where we can to help ease that transition to make everybody comfortable in that change between the running balance and the invoice ledger.
I want to ask you a question for my personal office. Like, let's say you wanted to create an adjustment. Do you have a capability of adding um, an adjustment that's customized just for your office?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. All of your adjustment types are labeled how you guys want. These are just some examples. We are able to adjust off, like we're able to track your PPO write-off, but
Uh-huh.
then you might have a professional courtesy or you might have a discount plan that you want. And these adjustment types can be associated with a specific dollar amount or percentage, or you can leave it open. So if you need to do it, if it's not the same every single time, you can do that as well. But these are all going to be up to you guys as far as however you want to label those adjustments that makes sense for your
No, what
office.
I'm saying is, can you add an adjustment? Let's say, Tony Stark special adjustment. Can you make that?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you could label it however you want, and then maybe I want to say I want to adjust this by $5. I can. I can even decide where it's going to go out, where it's going to be allocated to. Um, and then I can add it. I can add notes to this. So yeah, you could absolutely add in that special discount or special adjustment as needed.
No, I don't think I was clear. I'm sorry. So that adjustment, that professional courtesy, can that label itself be changed to Tony Stark?
You could, but it would overall be changed across the board. So it would always be labeled Tony Stark's professional courtesy.
Can you add an extra one?
You can through our admin section, absolutely.
Okay, excellent. So I can add a special um, adjustment for my office that other curve offices do not have.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Yes. And that was just to that point of that first point was that yes, how you label the adjustments or adjustment types are up to the office. Absolutely. We had one for trades. Sometimes our owners might do different trade type cases, or they might do pro bono cases. And there were certain labels that we would do, and that allowed us to be able to track those and report on those different adjustment types.
Great, great. And that's one of the important things about Curve is that it's very customizable to the office. It's not very rigid.
Correct. Yeah. A lot of flexibility, a lot of tailoring to what those offices are needing, and how they want things to look in their office.
Great.
Now, I do like to show our all claims area. So when we're looking for claims, it's pretty common that we might run a report, or maybe we call insurance companies trying to find out what's going on with these claims and their statuses. But I do encourage our teams to go to our all claims area where they get to see this kind of overall view, this bird's eye view of all the claims in their system. They're also able to then see their claim statuses over on the right hand side, and those update as the claims go through the process. So once they've been paid, the office will be able to come to this area and the status will have changed to paid. And then these two columns that are blank right now in my system are going to start filling in. So you're going to be able to start seeing when they're paid, the check and EFT number and date that it's been released, as well as being able to right click and viewing the ERAs or those explanations here inside a Curve as well.
Where did you click on that? Because on the right side, it says Recare.
There is a little hamburger bar right over here at the top right of the Sidekick. And then the second one down is our all claims area.
Gotcha, gotcha. But
Now,
can you basically go to the claims? Oh, that would be for that patient only, right? If you do it in the in this
correct.
area.
If you do it in the Sidekick, it's the patient only.
Gotcha.
So here we only see Tony Stark, but when I come over to the all claims area, I can organize these in different ways. You'll see different patients sprinkled in throughout there. If you're multi-location, you can toggle between locations or look at all locations at one time. There's all sorts of filters up here that you can filter by to find the information you're looking for.
Great.
And you can also organize via these categories up at the top as well.
Okay.
And then Curve's reporting area. So this is an area that a lot of patients or offices really they maybe want to see a report form of the all claims. So we could do that. On the left hand side, you see all sorts of pre-made reports that are going to come loaded into the system. Things like canceled appointment reports or different clinical like outstanding treatment plans. There's all sorts of financial reports here. All of these reports can be filtered by date range, by provider, by location, by different filters. So you're able to really get the information, the exact information that the office is needing. And then in addition to being able to pull up some pre-made reports, we also allow the offices to create their own reports. So sometimes, we come across things on our desk that we need to be able to customize or create because we're just not quite finding what we need. And Curve will allow you to come in and decide what type of information you're looking for. And then it shows you all these areas that you guys or the offices can pick and choose from that will allow them to create some very specific reports that are coming across their desk.
Very nice. Very nice. Very easy.
Yes, and they'll help you too. So if you call in and say, hey, I'm trying to get this report that does this information, they're going to sit there and say, okay, well then you need to add these filters or you need to add this column or that column, and they're going to really help you create those reports that are helping your your day-to-day life and making it easier for the offices.
And you can save that report so you can use it over and over, right?
Absolutely. Yep. Okay. All of those reports are also gathering information and data. And we roll a lot of these into what we call our My Practice dashboards. I pulled up a few here or a couple here just to give you an idea of what these look like. These are these My Practice dashboards that are pulling from your office's data in real time. This one is a production by referral source. In our office, it was really important that we know how our patients heard about us. But we also found it really great to know how much production was being brought in by each one of those referral sources.
Rebecca,
Um,
hold on. Rebecca, this is amazing. Now, how did you get to here? Is this part of Curve or is this going to another website?
this is part of Curve. It does push out into its own box. So it goes right here through kind of that same hamburger bar. We can go My Practice dashboards and it just pushes open into the business analytics area.
So wow,
And then I had some that were pulled up just for time's sake to show you guys.
so is this part of Curve or is this extra charge?
Nope, this is a part of Curve. Everything I'm showing today is built into the system,
Wow.
and part of what you're receiving with Curve.
Wow. Show me that other page again.
Yeah. So this is the production by referral source. And it's showing, of course, the production value amount that's brought in by each one of those referral sources. And we not only use these for things like marketing campaigns, but also negotiating insurance fees. You know, do we want to try to negotiate our contracted fees, or do we need to decide, hey, do we need to move to out of network versus being in network? So it's a lot of information in one kind of dashboard that you can use for multiple different reasons.
Wow.
And
Very
here's another
impressive.
one here. This is a treatment plan overview. So if you're tracking that case acceptance, you're going to be able to very visually see, this is how much of my cases are accepted versus rejected or scheduled versus unscheduled.
Very nice.
And then, we kind of spoke earlier about the ease of scheduling an appointment, but I also like to point out that the ReCare system is color coded. So right now over in the Sidekick, Tony's word ReCare is yellow, and that tells me that he has not been scheduled. So I can press the drop down more button. I'm able to see exactly when he's due and what he's due for. And I don't have to toggle through my schedule to find the correct due date. I can just right click and go directly to that date on the schedule. And then just like earlier, how we were
Wait,
dragging and dropping that appointment, we can also drag and drop that appointment right onto.
I'm sorry. Did you just right click?
I did, yes. Yep,
Can you right click?
yep, you can right click on certain areas. So right now to access this information on the schedule, I right click. I'm going to go ahead and delete that so I can show that again. So I can right click and go to the due date.
Yeah,
Once I'm on the due date,
for
it's just
people who
dragging and
don't
dropping.
know, and I don't know how much of the technology you know, this is a big deal, being
I
able.
I hear that a lot. I hear that quite a bit. Maybe it's just the amount of time I've spent on Curve. It's like second nature to me to be able to right click at that point.
Yeah, the development of a right click within a web browser, it usually shows the menus of the web browser. You guys have
Right. If we do it up
managed.
here, it'll show more
Yeah,
like this. But when we
right.
actually click here, it gives us other options.
Yeah, you guys have managed to write code to actually manipulate. That's great. It's very nice.
I don't know about all that, but the coding part's definitely not my forte. But yeah, definitely a neat ability to be able to do so from within this area.
Right.
Oh, same thing with our charting. If our patient has uh, proposed treatment, we can write or we can drop down the charting, and all of these visits are the same visits that we saw when we were talking about the planning area, so when we were treatment planning, and we can also drag and drop those right onto the schedule, and they pre-fill with any codes or notes or anything that's been time units that have been contained in that visit.
Right.
And then I do want to share with you Curve Grow. That's our patient engagement system. So rather than sending or writing out a reminder card for Tony, let's go ahead and just send them some automated messages. Let's send them a message that lets them know, hey, you scheduled an appointment. Don't forget to put it on your schedule. I can't wait to meet you. And that's going to be done through Grow. Now, because this is built in, this is all one system, so it's one login. There's no synchronization time. I don't have to worry about, the patient confirming an appointment, and then it not syncing up for, 10 or 15 minutes. It's going to automatically appear on the schedule in real time. So we're able to set up things like automated appointment reminders. we are able to set up a recare reminders so we can let the system target patients who aren't scheduled for those recare and let the system send out some automated messages first. And then if those patients still aren't responding, we can have them pushed over to that smart action list. This is the second to-do list that we spoke about at the beginning. The smart action list is the other part of that. And I'll show you in more detail that in just a moment. But it's creating this automated task list for your team where you can say, hey, these 5 patients, even though they've received all of these messages, they didn't schedule a recare and I don't want them to fall through the cracks. So let's push it over to this task list and let's have someone call that patient and see if we can get them back onto our schedule. So we recognize that reviews can be very important for offices. So we do want to give offices the opportunity to send out some post-appointment review requests. And those can link with any review form that the office wants to click this on. Google, Facebook, Yelp. I get made fun of just a little bit when I say Yelp because apparently that one's not as big anymore. But any review form that you guys want to focus on can be sent through our review request.
So this gets text to people and emailed?
Text or email or both. Yep. It's their choice. They get to choose what's going out, when it's going out, how often. They're able to even create the messages inside. Now, we're giving ample space to them to be able to create these templates so that they're not stuffy messages. Even though this is a very automated part of the system, we want patients really like it when they feel like you're texting them personally. So we want you to have enough space to say, you know, hey, it's Rebecca with Curve Dental, and we can't wait to see you on Friday at this time. And hey, here's a link to our online portal, and make sure you fill out your form. Have a lot of space to make it more personal for the patient.
So this is really interesting because I want to talk about this for a second again, is that everybody talks about the cost of subscription models for different software, but this actually saves them a lot of money because many people pay extra for these patient engagement and reviews and things like that. This kind of includes everything, correct?
That is very much so correct. Yep. A lot of offices are having, 3 to 5 to 6 to 7 different third-party companies that are tacked on that will accomplish these items that we're able to do all rolled into one system.
Yes, very nice. Very nice.
Now, we've also got online scheduling now with our engagement. So this is also an option that's available to offices if they wish to utilize that. It's very controlled. So you're not just handing over your schedule, you're setting different parameters for your patients to help guide them. So you can decide, specific times or days of the week or appointment types that you want to allow your patients to schedule. Now, this is showing up in real time on the schedule as well. So as soon as I schedule that appointment, it shows up on the schedule. But this also is one of those items that gets pushed over to this smart action list. So there are certain areas to this list where I can automatically create a task. Things like if appointments aren't confirmed or text messages fail, those online bookings, they're all going to show up here automatically. And your team doesn't have to toggle away from this page or go into a different system looking for patient information. I can click on Pepper's name and I get this text pop on the right-hand side. It tells me everything I need. It gives me her contact information so I can call her right here from Grow if I need to. It's going to give me appointment information, insurance, and recare. So everything I need in order to call her and try to get her appointment confirmed. Now,
I'd like to comment on one quick thing when you click there. Does your software integrate with Mango Voice?
It does. Yep. We partner with Mango Voice so that you're able to connect directly right here from Grow, but also from the Sidekick on the schedule, so that you're not even having to pick up the phone. You can just click on the orange phone icon and it's going to call that patient right there from the phone or from the computer.
It's very important because Mango is also a sponsor of my group, and people who are watching this probably can now realize that, even if you're want to go with a cloud software, there is a voice over IP that's set up and it's designed for dentists that can integrate with Curve. That's very good to hear.
it's also going to pop up a little message on the screen when that patient calls. So you're going to have quick access to see not only who is calling, but also basic information about that patient, like when their next appointment is scheduled, if they have a balance, if there's family members attached. So they're going to be able to see all of that as soon as that patient calls from your curve screen.
Excellent.
The teams can also add their own individual tasks here. And when we do this, we are able to add due dates. We're able to assign it to specific people. So we're able to really manage everybody's tasks in one area. And that way we have track of all of those little things that all of our team is doing on an everyday basis that help our office run smoothly.
So tell me where that went.
So that creates a task here. So I assigned it to Dr. Stephen Strange. So when Dr. Strange were to log in, it's going to show up here on his task list. So it might look something a little bit more like this when he logs in.
I
And then
see.
he's going to be able to come in and check it, mark it off. And then our office manager can come in and say, hey, you turned that payroll in a few days late. What's going on? Or, hey, you were supposed to call Hulk yesterday and you didn't. Let's make sure we call him today. Make sure he's feeling okay. He had a rough surgery.
Excellent. Excellent. Okay, so this was Curve Grow, basically patient engagement and integration with voice over IP.
Absolutely. Two-way texting back and forth. We're able to see who's speaking with the patient, which I think is really important because if we don't know if we have questions about the conversation, I want to know which one of my team members I need to go to about that. And I still have all their information over here. And then I can text back and forth with any patient that I need. If it's a new patient, I'm still able to text back and forth. And once that patient has been added into the system, it's just going to automatically start syncing up here and grow.
Excellent.
I feel like that was quite a bit of information we reviewed today, but is there anything else that I can show you?
No, I just want to go quickly through these. If like charting, imaging, we went over that, correspondence, notes. Yeah, everything is there. And you guys have prescriptions. How does that work?
Yeah, so we do have prescriptions available for those that are mandated to send prescriptions electronically. We do partner with Arcopia. You can launch Arcopia directly from Curve, and it sends all the patient's information over to Arcopia so that you can send out those prescriptions electronically. And then we also have the ability to track those prescriptions here inside of Curve, what was prescribed, when it was sent, which doctor prescribed it. And we can also print out prescriptions and create, medication templates so that you can just drag and drop it. If you're still printing those prescriptions today, you could do so.
Excellent. And as far as notes go, clinical notes, you can create templates the way you want them, right?
Yep, all of our notes are completely tailored to the office. You can add in your own note template. And then that way, all you're having to do is drag and drop that note right here onto that main screen, fill in any patient-specific information, and you can save that note. We can also tag notes so that we can find them quicker and easier later on if we would need to.
And what is that microphone down there? Is the voice command?
Yeah, so we partner with a company called Bola, and that's for voice integrated or voice activated perio charting and note taking. So if you do choose to add on Bola, you would be able to press the little note icon here when you're making charting area and be able to voice activate those items.
Okay, so these are add-ons that you can add if you wish.
Correct. Yeah, these are add-ons with partners that you can choose to use or not, just depending on what's best for your office.
Great. I think we covered a lot. I want to thank you for spending this time and showing us all these features. And my members are going to be very happy about this this demo. It's comprehensive, and they can use it as the first step to look into Curve cloud dental software.
Absolutely, and I look forward to being able to show them, a couple of those offices, a more in-depth look at what we can do for them.
Great. Thank you very much, Rebecca, and hope to see you later.
Absolutely. Thank you. Bye-bye.